So it is official, my friends of the MZR family. We have brought back to the family a Sapphire Blue 1975 CB750F Super Sport, which has been a goal of mine ever since I tore in to the first one I ever owned, which is what started this whole operation in the first place. And the ClubSport CB750 has been waiting for its original brother to be side by side itself. And now we can confidently say that we have that. This is a fully original, untampered with Sapphire Blue CB750F. There's a couple issues with it. Of course, it is almost 50 years old. There's a ding in the tank. We got to get a PDR doctor to pull that out. Not a problem. Rebuild the forks, rebuild the brakes. Everything works, but you know, general maintenance. So the goal with this bike is very simple, is to slowly rebuild it and restore it to be fully original, stay stock, and never change. So we're gonna load it up on the trailer, bring it home, and finally welcome a original version of the ClubSport CB750 so they can live next to each other happily ever after at the shop. So let's roll. Beauty thing about this bike, 11,000 miles, original. You ready? Woo. And you must be sitting there in your chair or in your couch saying, wow, all original. This guy's full of crap. Where's the original exhaust? In the trunk. No, not a hole in it, not a speck of rust. How about them apples? Alright guys, so here we are at the shop, and I've had the CB750 on the lift for the past few days, but I wanted to wait to finish this video until I brought it home, was able to actually go through the bike, put a couple hundred miles on it, see what it's all about, and really understand what's wrong with it, what's good about it, get it up to snuff a little bit. So since I've picked up the bike, it's been about 1 week now, and I've put about 300 miles on it so far, and I've done actually quite a bit to this bike. As you can see, right off the bat, obviously, there is a little dent in the rear of the tank, which that is easily fixable with a PDR guy. I just haven't gotten around to do it. I'm not gonna spend $200-300 bucks right now. I'm gonna wait to do that, probably when the winter time comes or next riding season, get it good to go. One of the things that I'm really excited about the purchase of this bike is the fact that it's coming with an aftermarket slip-on, and it gives it just the right amount of sound that it needs. It's still really quiet at speed and not annoying like the CB750F caferacer, the ClubSport. That thing's way too loud. It's just obnoxious, but it's great. It sounds great. As a daily rider, it's nice to have something that sounds good but isn't annoying, and that is the perfect balance that this slip-on is giving. Granted, I do have the stock muffler, which obviously I am a huge fan of an all original CB750, which technically we have. Why take that off? There's no need. The muffler that I do have that's original and fully stock is in mint shape. I could show you, but you guys know what they look like. There's no need. I think I bought it with 11,100 miles, something in that range. And I've put about, like I said, 300 miles or so on it. Next season, I'll need new tires. And I did a lot of cleaning on this bike since we've owned it. As you can see, the engine cases are shining. Like, the thing about this bike that makes it really, really, really desirable for me in my eyes is the fact that on most of the bolts, we have the original factory paint. Like down there. It's just nice to know that this thing hasn't really been crazy torn into. One thing I did notice is someone has messed around with the wiring up here, as it is a little out of place from normal. But let's just take a step back and let me tell you a little bit of what we've done since I've owned it. So, first things first, I have polished-ish, you know, I've put, I don't know, 5 hours of time into polishing the covers. I have not done the valve cover yet. I gotta take the tank off to do that, but like these cleaned up fantastic. You know, not perfect, but for a quick 30-minute, hour polish job, the engine is looking way better. I polished the front forks. Those are not fully done, but of course, a great baseline and will give me something to do in the winter for next season to get it really dialed in. Went around, a little trick is using quadruple zero steel wool, and you get an insane outcome. I did go ahead, wash the bike, and do a little wax on the paint. It is actually fantastic. I haven't like cut, polished, or buffed anything. I just literally washed it and put on a coat of jet seal. We will paint correct the paint, but first we have to fix, you know, things like that. We have to fix little things like that. And obviously the tank, the paint is in fantastic shape. However, with this dent comes a little bit of clear coat crack, so we'll see the outcome of that. If we have to fix it, we'll fix it. But the paint's in mint shape. We have original side covers. As you can see, there is a crack in the top and a little scuff there, but these are original, and the reason you know is because when you pop them off, they obviously are original because they have a stamp and they're like this off-white yellowish color. But additionally, knowing is a stock CB750F side cover on the 76, and I believe like 1 or 2 other models, they're gray side covers, not black. And then, of course, polished up the air box. That looks really good. And these engine cases, the stator, the transmission cover, I polished really nicely. Again, not finished. Just wanted to get the original, like, just wanted to get a shine back to it. And as you can see, like, we're sparkly, which is awesome. Again, polished the front fender and front forks. I do have an entire parts bike from the new build, the ClubSport V2 build, which was the yellow CB750F I own, but obviously have torn it down since. As you can see, it's right there. And that's gonna be the V2 ClubSport build there. But what I'm ultimately trying to say is I have all of the original parts from that bike that I'm gonna start swapping good ones from that onto this. So anything bad on here and good on there and vice versa will be swapped to make this one ultimately better. One thing that's rare that this bike does have is the entire trim piece on both sides of the seat. That's a rare piece to have. It's random, hard to find if you don't have it, and we have it. So moral of the story is we've picked up a very clean example of a stock CB750 from 1975, the Super Sport models, which was the F series, stock header in great shape, stock collector in great shape. You know, I actually bought it. The front forks were seeping really bad. They were weeping pretty hard. So I had a good set of forks from the CB750F, the 1976, the yellow one. So I just swapped those over, put those on. And, you know, little things like I bled the brakes, put some new fluid in there, clean fluid. I got to put new brake pads in the rear because they squeak. But again, the ultimate goal for this bike is to not do much at all other than ride it and slowly restore it to be perfectly original. Because you know, guys, I don't know if you know, but that's my end all goal. This has been my goal for ever since I started building that, was to have how that bike started, which is this. And finally, we have that. And a lot of people complain to me like, oh, how can you tear into such a beautiful Survivor? Well, that bike started as a piece of junk and definitely not in this condition. And if it was, I'd definitely have a problem tearing into it. Because a lot of things that people don't know about me is I am, as much as I am a builder with the 450 and the 750, I am an enthusiast of the original motorcycles. I really love and have a huge appreciation for the stock CB750s, especially the F models. That's why my plan has always been, and my plan is, to keep this fully original, slowly restore it over time, but just ride it, have fun, and move on. Like this is the ultimate dream right here, is to have the built version of the ClubSport V1, all original. So that is the goal, and that is what we achieved by purchasing this. And we have purchased a really, really good one. I have so many extra parts laying around to make this thing back to true original form. And slowly we're gonna rebuild it. The engine is as healthy as they possibly come. There's no rips in the seat, no tears. The seat is in fantastic shape. I'll show you underneath. Like, clean. This bike is clean. I'm like starstruck in a way. Like a few things, like the starter works, but the button doesn't work. So again, things that don't really matter to me right now because it's the end of the season. I just want to enjoy it. But over time, this will become a pristine, restored CB750F from 1975 because I have zero intentions ever to sell the ClubSport V1, which is my first motorcycle build ever. And for whatever reason, I have a feeling this particular motorcycle will stay in my fleet for the rest of time. So ultimately, that's been my goal, to have these two, because this is how that started, and that started as this. So we have them both now. I think we're gonna keep them because this seems to be a really good survivor to keep. So guys, there you have it. I'm super pumped to finally introduce an original version of the CB750 ClubSport build to the fleet. I couldn't be happier with the one that we found. We got it for a decent price. It is a very respectable machine. I didn't want to buy something that was completely dilapidated. I wanted something with a good baseline, still original, really untampered, and low miles, and that checks all of the boxes. Really, it needs nothing, but there are little stupid little things that kind of annoy me, but not annoy me enough to actually dive into it now. I put in the elbow grease the last week, getting it to a point that I'm comfortable and happy with. I've touched enough of it to understand it enough and have it be my bike now. And it really just feels good to have one and ride it. I can't get enough of riding it. I don't want to get off the bike. That's how much I love riding CB750s, especially the F models. They're just gorgeous to me. I'm absolutely in love. So thank you guys for watching. If you have any interest in following along with building a second version of the ClubSport, that's going to be the ClubSport V2, I'm in the process of starting that build series here on this channel. So if you're interested in seeing some updates on how I went from the original CB750F to the ClubSport CB750, I am able to actually document the entire process now and will be doing that. So if you're interested, consider subscribing, follow along with the journey. And as always, thank you for being the dopest crew out there. Peace. Don't forget to leave a comment. We're one team, one family, and I will catch you in the next episode. Woo!